when we're doing something that we love, something that we're passionate about, something that gives us a lot of joy, that's almost the perfect environment for God to plant a desire in your heart.
Welcome to the Spirit-Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Welcome back to part 2 with Maryann Ehmann. And if you missed part 1, you definitely want to go back and get it. She told some amazing stories of God's favor, blowing up just our conception of that slavery mentality, the orphan spirit. And I love the favor does the heavy lifting. I just love that you shared with us, Maryann. And, I didn't say this is Spirit-Centered Business, and I am your host, Bralynn Newby. I get so excited to talk to you, Maryann, and to just dive right into the next part of our story. So why don't you share some more glory stories with us?
Okay. They're the funnest, seeing God work in our lives. I think, sometimes people want, I want to be like you, or I want to have stories like you. I think we all have them. I really do. But I think sometimes we're just too busy and trying so hard that we don't actually just reflect on these beautiful stories and how God has worked in them and start understanding that it's not on us, right? Do we have a part to play? Yes. And I think the part we have to play in co-creating with God is, number one, feel the love. Not just know the love, feel the love. Really feel the love. Number two, feel the favor, see the favor, walk in the favor, have an expectation of favor. Those are our parts, right? But those are gifts, love gifts from God. So we don't have to come up with the gift. We just have to come up with embracing the gifts. Mm-hmm. Embracing them, walking in them, feeling them, experiencing them. So, and there are things that can get in the way of experiencing those things, like fears, right? So, for example, this next story I want to tell you about was my son met a girl on TikTok who lived in New Zealand, all right? And because this was the period of the lockdown, New Zealand was the last country, actually one of the last countries to open its doors. And so he had to wait 18 months before he could actually meet this woman face to face and see if it was a real thing. But they did get to talk for 5 hours every day, right? And what a great way to start a relationship. Really? 18 months just talking to each other?
Wow.
I think that's pretty amazing. Well, anyway, it came time finally, after so many hoops, he got to go back to New Zealand. He went there, he had to come back, and then he got to go back again. But the process of being able to go back and getting visas is very, very difficult, and it's very expensive. And they decided to hire advisors, right? Which was very helpful. Well, now they needed another advisor. And I had said to my son early on when he had first come back to the States, I said, wouldn't it be great if we could do a GoFundMe campaign and, get you some help for this, for your visas and the advisor? And he's like, I don't know, Mom. He was really embarrassed about it. And he said, let me talk to Sarah. So he talks to Sarah, and the two of them decide, okay, go ahead. All right. And I said, well, when it's time, when you finally can go back into the country, because you're going to have to get another visa at that time, once you're there, you have to get another one to stay. So why don't we wait till then? We didn't know when that was going to be. I don't want to do a GoFundMe campaign, have the money just sitting there for what, a year? Who knows how long, right? So he says, okay, good. Well, 6 months later, the visa comes through, and he says, well, now would be a good time probably to do that GoFundMe campaign. And I say to him, yeah, about that. And he says, Ma, you seem a little hesitant. Is there something going on with you about that? And I said, and this is after talking to the Lord, who revealed this, I have a fear of judgment. And I don't know if I put it out there, what people are going to think. I'm just being honest here. And he said, well, maybe that's something you need to work on.
Nothing like being called on your stuff.
I wanted to smack him because I'm like, easy for you to say, I'm the one putting myself out there. You get to receive the goodies. Oh,
Right.
I was mad. I was
Right.
really
And
mad.
the frame up for that is because you are seen as a very successful businesswoman, you are seen as the co-creating the miracles and the money coming in and all of that stuff. So to put out the GoFundMe seems like a step backwards, or what will people think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and there were all good reasons for doing it, but that's where I went. Exactly what you said. You hit the nail on the head. Well, I had other occasions recently prior to that I had seen the fear of judgment, like posting on Facebook, like showing up in groups, all kind. My daughter living with us, their judgment can be painful.
Yeah.
And I knew that, and I didn't want it. But the Lord showed me that unless you conquer this, you will always be held back.
Mm.
Okay? You cannot step fully into what I'm calling you to if you are afraid of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So I went to the Lord and I proclaimed and I sat with and I just wrote to him and let him talk to me about he is my source. He is my validation. He is my provider. He is my protection. And by the way, you have a shield of favor around you, Maryann. Okay? Psalm 5:12. I have a shield of favor around me. So anybody who judges you, their arrows have to go through the favor, the shield of favor first before getting to you. And what do you think is going to happen? I am going to dissolve those arrows. They're not going to land. All right. But if you don't count on it, you don't put the shield up.
Yeah.
All right. So part of our job, it's there. We have to put the shield up. God's made that available to us. We put the shield up. Okay. So I decided to do that. And I posted and I put it out there. Well,
So can you fill in a little bit of a gap of why you thought GoFundMe would work?
yes. Number one, I had already spent thousands and thousands of dollars helping my son. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And my business at that time, because of attending to family members, my business had taken a back seat. All right. That was one reason. The second reason, though, was my son, I wanted him to experience the community aspect of people coming together to support him. And I didn't care if it was $5, $20, $100, I didn't care what it was. But I wanted him to see that he is a valuable person and people are delighted by his story. To meet somebody on TikTok who lives in New Zealand that you are madly in love with and you're going to get married, this does not happen every day,
Mm-hmm.
And that you guys persevered. I wanted people to know the story.
Mm-hmm.
And the GoFundMe campaign was one of the conduits, one of the ways I think that was going to happen and that he would get blessed by it as well as his bride-to-be,
Mm-hmm.
So
it was around the love story and the uniqueness of it and the perseverance and the
yes,
beautiful. Yeah.
yes, I really did want to bless him with that,
Mm-hmm.
rather than it's just mom saying, I love you, honey,
Yeah.
It's more than that. This is almost a cosmic shift for some people.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to not let my fear of judgment interfere with the blessing that can happen for other people by their contribution. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, it did. I just wanted
Okay.
you to paint the picture of why people would be interested in funding. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it wasn't as much about like, if you don't pay or you don't help him, this poor boy is going to, it was more like, do you want to join in on the fun here? You
Right,
know,
right.
you
So
want to
much
join
seed
in
for
with God's
love.
for the sake of love? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And most that's why people did it, because they thoroughly wanted to support that,
Mhm.
So that was wonderful. The other thing is, I was led to basically give to the people who donated a free course. And so I've had so many miracles. I decided to do a Manifesting Miracles 4-week course for free for anybody who wanted anybody who contributed. And it was after people had contributed that I came up with that. So it's not like they did it, they got the course and then contributed. It was already afterwards. It was like a
Mm.
bonus,
Mhm.
right? So while I was doing the program, the 4-week program, which was just delightful, I always love talking about God's miracles, um, the idea struck me. And I think this is how our desires get birthed. It says God gives us the desires of our heart. And I believe that when we're doing something that we love, something that we're passionate about, something that gives us a lot of joy, that's almost the perfect environment for God to plant a desire in your heart.
Mhm.
So the desire that got planted in my heart was go to New Zealand to be at my son's wedding. Now, prior to it, I'd known about this for a while. I had not even thought about doing that. New Zealand was not on my bucket list. Some people say they have places to go.
Mhm.
It wasn't one of mine, right? But I thought, well, how cool would that be to go to New Zealand? And I thought, oh, okay, and that's kind of like how the seed started germinating, just me playing with it, thinking about it. And I think that's what happens with our desires. Let it breathe, water it a little bit, let it just like expand within you and see where it goes. So
Mhm.
that's what I did. And we decided, but it only had 2.5 months. I did the cost. What is it going to cost us to go? Right. And I figured out in order for us to not be pinching pennies the whole way and worrying about every dollar we spend, I needed $10,000. Okay. And I also wanted to give them some money. So $10,000 was my number. And actually, I put together one of those thermometers
Oh, yeah. A
visual.
visual is always good. Yeah.
And so I put together this thermometer, and right away, the next week, right after I did this, I got a whopping $197. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, how many of these things are going to have to either sell or do, those were now the doubt starts to seep in. And I think that's what happens also. You put your stake in the ground, you decide you're going to go for something, and then the reality of it strikes you.
Mm.
Ah, okay. Yeah, 197. All right, it goes on the chart here, right? I color it
Mhm.
in, and I hear the Lord say, and you and I've talked about this, comes back to me, despise not the small beginnings. All right,
Mm.
right. We know this. This is a truth. We know this. So I got back on the rock of salvation here and move forward. Well, another 197 came in. Then 750 came in out of this this client that I worked for years ago. All of a sudden, now these are all like coincidences, right? He
Mhm.
shows up, has a business document that he wants me to review for him. And I charge him $750. I don't do this kind of work. I'm not a lawyer. And I said, I am a lawyer, but I don't practice law, right?
Mhm.
So no problem. There was another 750. Then this bizarre thing happened. I get an email from someone in Singapore,
Hmm.
wants to buy one of my domains.
Wow, that is a weird one.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, last year, somebody wanted to buy that domain, and the domain, interestingly enough, and I sold it favoredbygod.com. And I
Wow.
sold it because it was attached to a book that I don't even sell anymore. And at that time, I wasn't preaching, teaching, incorporating favor like I had been.
Mm,
That was like an old message to me, which is why it's so bizarre for all of this to be coming back.
wow.
So I sold it, Favored by God. And before, somebody wanted to buy it for $500. And I'm like, absolutely not, right? Then we went up to $1,500. I said, nope, still, I'm not selling it for that. This guy, a year later, says, I want to buy it. And I say, no less than $2,500. I'm not going to dick around, you know?
Yeah.
And he said, fine. In 24 hours, I had $2,500 in my Venmo account. Right?
Wow. Mhm.
So now I'm 3,000 with $200, $3,200 there, right? And this is all happening in 1 week. So I'm like, you know what? It keeps going like this. And so I then buy the plane tickets for the trip, which is several $1,000s. That was part of the 10 is it's very expensive to go over there, right? And I figure I always teach, put your stake in the ground, right? You got to make an action. You got to do is more than just declaring it, thinking it. You got to actually put some skin in the game for your desire.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do. I buy the plane ticket. That night, I woke up in a sweat. What did I do? And the old voices of my mother, you are so irresponsible. What are you thinking? You can't afford that. What if the rest of the money doesn't come in? Now you're all this money and you can't get to go. And so the next morning, I was a mess. And I came before the Lord. And this is what I always teach people to do too in my practice. When I have negative emotions, what I do is with those negative emotions is that I journal them out. I don't sweep them under the rug. I journal them out. I try to come up with every negative thing I'm feeling. I honor it. And there's always a lie behind our negative feelings. So I try to discover what the lie is behind that too.
Right.
Then I have this thing I do. It's called love the lie, kiss it goodbye.
Oh, that's so good.
Okay? Love the lie, kiss it goodbye. And when I say love the lie, I'm not really loving the lie. I'm acknowledging and honoring that it exists.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then I kiss it goodbye, give it to the Lord, and then I receive truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all. That's all I needed to do that morning. I was back on track, So continuing forward, somebody approached me for another $2,500 to work with them. Then somebody else approached me for $2,500 to work with them. I did not reach out to these people, right? However, they were in the Manifesting Miracles class.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't sell a program. I didn't offer a program. They contacted me, right? And the person that actually paid me the $197 for a very brief session, right, came back around and actually decided to work with me on a long-term basis. So the $10,000 I needed, and there were other little things. I can't go into all the different ways in which, but
Sure.
the $10,000 actually turned into 20. And I had that 20,000 by the beginning of September.
Yay, God.
Right.
Whew.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah.
And when you told me this little bit about the story pre-roll, you said that God told you new money for New Zealand.
Yes.
When did that happen? When did you get that word from the Lord?
I got that word before I paid for the plane tickets.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. And I was reminded of it when I had that blip, that spiraling down, right? That was one of the things. And so new money for New Zealand actually meant this. I don't want to take money out of my budget. I don't want to take money out of savings because we did have some savings and we have some I don't want to liquidate any assets. All right. It was almost like the adventure was in co-creating new money for New Zealand. All right. So the joy and the enthusiasm and excitement about that coming in such a beautiful, joyful way was reminding me this is how God wants us to do things.
So good.
Yeah. So we're in New Zealand. We go to the wedding. It was phenomenal. New Zealand was way prettier, way more beautiful than I had even imagined. So much so that we went back the next year, by the way. But we're sitting in this beautiful, you can get an Airbnb there for a whole entire place, upscale kitchen, beautiful environment, overlooking the water for $180 a night.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
You can't get a hotel room at Best Western these days, you know?
Right. Overlooking the highway.
Exactly. So while I'm sitting there and we're calmed down, the fire is going in the fireplace, and I'm just taking it in. I just want to take it all in, everything that's happened over the past few months, Lord, just take it in. And then I hear the Lord say, we co-created this.
Oh.
And that's where the realization that we've been co-creating forever, pretty much. We just haven't been aware of it. We wouldn't use those terms necessarily, But when we co-create with God, we're co-creating with favor. We're co-creating with love. And he takes the desires of our heart. So then that's when I came back and I decided I have to pass this on. This is just too good. So I did an audio series, and it was 15 minutes a day of an aspect of co-creating with God in for over 4 weeks. Well, that led then to just living that lifestyle. And I guess it was, earlier this year. So that was in 2024. Earlier this year, all the pieces started coming together. And I now saw, and there's one verse we're all very familiar with, whatsoever you desire, when you pray, believe you have it and you shall have it. And the Lord showed me through a divine download how I could take that and turn that into 5 pillars. And each pillar takes one aspect of that verse. The foundation for implementing that verse is love and favor. It's to be thoroughly grounded in love and favor, because then co-creation is easy. We said favor does the heavy lifting. But there is a framework, and that passage provides a framework. So whatsoever you
one.
It is. And I think that we all love it, but I don't know how many people actually take it seriously.
Right. So good.
There's gold in
Great
that.
download. Yeah, there's very much gold in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I had thought a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote it down in my see if this is a good idea or a God idea list. I have this little thing that just like, here's an idea, and I just let it simmer, and I just kind of write stuff down. And if it's just me and a good idea, it'll go away. But if it just keeps coming back, and I keep noodling it, and it keeps. So I think that I am going to be doing a journal to go with my book, Discover Your Business Destiny.
Absolutely.
So that you're literally doing what you're talking about. You have an audio, but it'll be kind of like journaling out what that co-creating looks like, and living from the vision of the future.
And you could even do day one, do this. I mean, you have actual steps and things that people can do, right? So
right, exactly. So I think I'm gonna do a companion book to my or a companion journal to my book. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I'm
Well,
gonna.
and that's the difference too. I mean, the Co-Creating with God audio series is more to get people's juices going in the direction of thinking about favor and love and co-creating,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and just to raise their consciousness about it. So that's kind of like a top layer. But then
Right.
in order to actually implement, I discovered they need more than that. They don't need, that's just inspiration. That's not actually a framework of how to do this. So how do I do that? How do I present that? Because some of these things, like for both of us, seem like natural. Some of these things are like we've been practicing for a long time. You take it for granted and you don't know, where did you start? What's the journey that the Lord has given to you along the way? What's he emphasized to you along the way, right? You're maybe on step 152 and your audience is on 3. You know what I mean?
You are so correct, Maryann. And I sit, and even when I tell people, yeah, I took communion every day and I did that, and sometimes they go until like you can take communion by yourself. I'm like, oh, okay. Where So yes,
Yes,
I do need to
yes.
just start back at the beginning. But I just want to tell you that in this moment, you even talking about the audio series has inspired me. I'm like, okay, that's another cha-ching confirmation on what the Lord had told me a couple weeks ago about
Oh,
that.
beautiful.
So I'm telling you that even talking about it, I haven't even participated in it yet, but you talking about it, telling the story has inspired me.
Yes, well, we're just trying to, there's no judgment on anything. We're on different journeys. And if we can,
Mhm.
through the work we do, at whatever stage a person's at, right?
Right, right.
Even a little bit of enlightenment here, maybe a little bit more over here. And then maybe they're ready at a time for the framework. Maybe they're ready to actually do the work with you about it, So
Right.
I think there's
Yeah.
just so many, we have to really respect the journey that a
Well,
person
we
is on.
do. We do. And when I do a face palm on something like that, when people ask me such a basic question, I'm doing that to myself, going, "Oh yeah, that's right. Doe, I've been
I
doing this myself."
understand.
You
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, not them.
Because
I know that. Yeah.
I can't speak in a language that people don't even understand just because I understand it if I'm trying to help them, you know? I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Come on, reel it
Absolutely.
on back, Bralynn."
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we get frustrated with ourselves because we're thinking, there's got to be a better way to explain this that I'm just not getting. But I think when
But
we press in, if our dream and our goal is to actually communicate in such a way that touches hearts,
right.
right?
Yeah.
That's what we want. Communicate in such a way that inspires a person to maybe take one more step. And
Mhm.
maybe not in the direction of you, but in the direction of God. One more, which, all right, we got God. But you know what I'm saying? So I can look back and say, oh, well, that was brilliant, Maryann, because at the time I didn't know what I was doing. All right. I just
That's
wanted
how
to
I always
share.
roll.
Exactly. But we look back and we go, oh, I see what was going on there. That
Yeah,
audio series, A Co-Creating with God, was the only way I could get the message out without getting overwhelmed.
beautiful.
That's the
So
only
you just sat and recorded it each morning or
each
whatever.
morning. Yes, I did.
Wow.
I had an assistant. I did it in a Telegram group. I don't recommend that because a lot of people are like, how do I get on Telegram? What is Telegram? Just those kinds of things. So we had to get through some of that, right? But every morning, and I could look like I just got out of bed, which I did, and I take a few notes. What is it? And I seek the Lord. What do you want me to share about this with
Mhm,
them today? And that's all I did. I took a few notes
mhm.
and then I riffed it. I just
So
ripped
good.
it.
You know, this is your story, but I'm just like this. A lot of people don't know this. I don't think I've told you even. Before I started the Spirit Centered Business podcast, I had a Spirit Centered Business pod or a prayer call every Wednesday morning, and I did 100 of those prayer calls. So I actually have 100, which is over 2 years, almost, 2.5 years or so of those calls every single Wednesday, and you
Yeah.
had you said that I'm consistent. And I just want to say you are consistent as well. And
Mm,
I see your emails out there. I see, when I'm on social media, I do see your posts, but mostly I look at your emails and I see your stuff. And so I'm going to just give you the shout out that you're consistent to look at what the Lord is doing and say,
mhm,
what do you want to say? What do you want me to co-create right now? And it's sometimes he does bring up old things and we kind of refresh them and put them back into circulation again. And sometimes it's a brand new thing. And so that's what I love about you is you're just willing
mhm.
to go for it. And I
Yeah.
love the idea of just doing an audio because that
Mhm.
is refreshing. You don't have to do camera ready, hair and makeup and on the lighting and the, everything like that. So well
People who are
done.
listening to me on their walks, you
Yes,
know, they
well
don't have
done.
to be on video. They're just listening,
Mhm.
and some people would say, you know what, I got to go back and listen and take some notes, right?
Right.
But all they needed to do was just listen. And that's what I want to just let God have his way with you with the words, and whatever you get from it, you get from it.
Yes.
I had one person say that uh, he didn't tell me this. He told his friend who invited him,
Mhm.
"This is too freeing for me."
Well, what the heck does that mean? Too
It means,
freeing. Like if I'm too much for you, go get something less. I mean, freeing.
and I'm like, okay,
I don't know what that
Uh,
means, but
I have to say though that the consistency is only if, and I don't like grinding things out. I
right.
am very, very allergic to doing things because I should. It doesn't mean I don't. It doesn't mean I don't, but I also know that when it's a more of a duty or a should or an obligation, I don't have much joy in it. It doesn't bring me much fruit. And I'm like, why bother? Now I'm at a point like, why bother? So
Well, I hear
I,
that
I
too.
actually go for the joy.
Yeah, I hear that too. I mean, my audience knows I do best of when I'm not, I don't have fresh content. I don't have a fresh one. We pull up a best of,
Yeah. Yeah.
episode or something and put that out. So I get it. Yeah, if we're
I think in the Christian world, fun is underrated.
and Jesus is so funny. Oh my gosh, he is always pulling goofball
Yeah.
stuff on me.
One more note, and this is for anybody who's listening who might be an entrepreneur, right? So doing that audio series, by the way, gave me, and I wasn't selling anything, but added another $50,000 or $60,000 to my income.
Okay, all right. We need to hear that story. Can
Just
you make it short? Can you do it?
Well, yeah. What happened was at the end of the series, I thought to myself, okay, I know people love this stuff, but I also know that they have mindset issues that are going to keep them from actually accessing the faith that is there, the favor that's there. So I'm going to offer a bonus call that I'll take somebody through my process of uncovering subconscious beliefs that interfere with your faith, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to coach one or two people through that, and others can like maybe glean from it and learn from themselves and do it themselves, right?
So it's a bunch of people, but you only a couple hot seat get to
Yes,
be on? Oh, I see. Okay.
because I didn't have time for everybody,
Sure. Yeah.
Like I said, I had about 25 people in the class,
Mhm.
right? There's no way I could do a bonus call with 25 people
Right.
and to do any justice. So I taught the process first.
Right.
I taught the process. How do you uncover subconscious beliefs that are interfering with your faith, right? And
Mhm.
then I took two examples.
Beautiful.
So not everybody was on the call, but a person who was watching the replay was like, I need that. I need that. That person alone ended up hiring me for $25,000.
Good. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then other people were like, we did shorter programs for them. Okay,
Mhm.
so by the time all was said and done from that group, it turned out to be about $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah, God. That is so good. See,
I
that
couldn't have
that's what
planned
happens with
it.
obedience too. Yeah,
Yeah, listening.
yeah. So good.
Listening and acting on it. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's been, and by the way, that one woman who like hired me for, I'm still working with her, by the way, but she had $1.2 million business, and she felt like there was some kind, she was at a plateau,
Mm,
you
mhm.
know, and she felt like there's some unconscious beliefs that she's having that's keeping her from the next level. And so
Right.
that's what we did first was the mindset work, right? The
Mhm.
heart work.
Yeah.
And then what happened within 9 months was that she went from the 1.2 million to 1.5 million. She broke through the ceiling and actually made a little bit of a jump, right? It was significant, right? And now her next goal is 3 million. Because
Beautiful.
now
Love that.
she has the tools and the mindset and the heart and the relationship with the Lord that 3 million is a done deal for her.
So good. So
Yeah.
good. Wow.
So God likes
Marianne,
making money with us.
he does. He does because I also think this is important too to establish our outflow. How are we going to build the kingdom with this money? Because it's not about us getting stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about
because she's got plenty of stuff.
plan. Yeah,
But
it's about his plan.
she is a woman that she is so generous. She is so kind. One of the reasons why she wants more money is because of these missions and these projects that she
Mhm.
is wanting to implement,
Right.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. But
So
God's
good.
not opposed to us having stuff.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Oh, Marianne, this is so good. I'm so glad that we caught up. Let's not wait 4 years until the next time. Oh
Yes,
gosh.
yes, yes.
So we didn't really get into too much of the co-creating with God program, but I do want to just mention that again, that you have open enrollment a few times a year. Just keep that. If anybody wants to get on a waiting list, they can get a hold of you because it's not
Yeah,
open enrollment right now when this is going to be airing, but perhaps, in a few months or whenever, make sure that you connect with Marianne so that if you're
yeah.
interested in that. But
And
you all,
I think the best way is to go, well, this is for people who are on Facebook, of course, to go to the Coalition of Queens. All
yes,
right.
okay.
That
Mhm.
I'm in there every day. So
Okay.
they could ask me a question and so forth. The other thing, the other way too is on my website, MaryannEhmann.com. There is a free daily declarations. Um,
Mhm.
and they can sign up for that, and that puts them inside my email list.
Beautiful.
All
Yep.
right. And from there, they can learn whenever I offer things.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great. So is the Coalition of Queens, I meant to ask this to you in part one, is that for women only?
It's not, but
Okay.
it's geared toward women. My husband's in that. I have several men that are in it,
Okay.
who get a lot from it.
Mhm.
And but they have to be men who know that I'm not catering to you.
It's all
I'm
good.
catering to the issues of you know, women of God, kingdom women,
Royalty.
royalty.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I will leave you with one verse that I'm sure you're familiar with, that is the basis of the group. And that is about how he who receives the abundance of grace and favor and the free gift of righteousness will reign as kings on this earth.
Mm.
So reigning is about receiving.
So good.
So in the group, I teach. That's what I emphasize. We don't earn it. We don't work for it. We have to learn how to receive. And many worker bee women are not good receivers.
You are
So
right on that one.
we have to learn to become receivers, better receivers. Yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
So,
Okay, well, we better land this plane. I think
okay. Thank
we
you for
will do.
having me. I appreciate it. This has been fun.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad that you had a good time. I'm so glad that you were available to record with me and we could catch up and everything and
Mhm.
share what you're up to now. So in the show notes, you guys, you'll see MaryanNehmann.com and also the other website for the audio series. Is that
The audio series. I
okay?
will also give you the link to the Coalition of Queens.
Okay, perfect. I'll put those
Yeah.
three in there. And the
Yeah.
audio series is called
Co-Creating with God audio
Co-Creating.
series.
Okay, so both of them are called Co-Creating with God, but one is an audio series. Got it.
That's right. The other one is
Okay.
like a more in-depth one. It includes one-on-one coaching as well as a small group community. And that is Co-Creating with God. It's the 10-week experience.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Maryann. I bless you. I bless your family and your husband to just keep co-creating and keep sharing those miracle stories. I love it.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And next time, stay spirit-centered. Peace out. Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.